Let me be very clear, 2025 is not the year to chase noise. It's the year to build substance in silence, and if you've been busy watching others win, talking about what you'll do, or waiting for the right moment, stop. That's not how you grow, that's not how you lead, and most importantly, that's not how you evolve. Focus on yourself, not in a selfish way, but in a self-respecting way. If you don't pour into your own development, your own peace, your own progress, then who will? You can't give energy to everyone else while your own life is in chaos. You can't keep being everything to everyone while losing who you are. Enough. 2025 demands maturity, it demands strength, and it demands that you lock in. Silence is power, silence is control, and the loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. This year, we don't overshare, we outwork, we don't announce every goal, we achieve quietly, we don't react to every critic. We observe, adapt, and move smarter. Your energy is sacred now, protect it. Every conversation doesn't deserve a response, every battle isn't worth your attention. The most dangerous thing you can do in 2025 is give everyone access to your mind, your time, and your emotions. You are not obligated to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. They can judge your silence, but let them, because while they're gossiping, you're growing. While they're wasting time scrolling and talking, you're training, building, investing, healing. Quietly, consistently, in 2025, silence becomes a powerful force, not a passive retreat. It's not about hiding or avoiding, but about choosing your battles with precision and wisdom. Too often, people mistake silence for weakness, thinking that the loudest voice in the room holds the most power. But real strength is demonstrated in restraint, in the ability to observe without reacting, to plan without broadcasting, and to move without explaining. When you stay silent, you give yourself time to think, to analyze, and to act with intention. You take back control over your thoughts and emotions instead of letting the noise of the world pull you in every direction. When you choose silence, you shift your focus inward. Instead of using energy to prove yourself or gain attention, you use it to build, refine, and grow. You become the kind of person who no longer seeks applause for every step forward, but is satisfied knowing you're heading in the right direction. The world has become addicted to validation, likes, comments, reactions, but silence breaks that addiction. It separates you from the chaos and forces you to define your worth from within, not from others' opinions. There's also a tactical strength in silence. You don't reveal your plans before they're ready. You don't allow others to influence your direction. You give no room for interference or doubt. People cannot attack what they do not know. In this silence, you build quietly. You study, you train, you evolve. And when your results appear, they speak louder than any words ever could. That kind of impact doesn't come from being loud. It comes from being consistent and intentional when no one is watching. Silence also sharpens your listening. When you're not speaking to prove or defend, you hear more clearly. You notice details, shifts in energy, changes in people. You become more aware of what's going on around you, and that awareness becomes power. You learn to respond, not react. You learn to walk away from battles that don't deserve your energy and choose your engagements based on purpose, not impulse. This year, silence isn't a void, it's a strategy. It's a form of self-respect. You don't give everyone access to your thoughts, your plans, or your emotions. You protect your peace. You create space to focus on what truly matters without the distractions of constant noise. You understand that growth doesn't need to be announced, progress doesn't need applause, and transformation doesn't require validation. As you move through 2025, silence becomes your armor and your discipline. It's how you build quietly, grow steadily, and surprise everyone not with your words, but with your undeniable results. In a world that constantly demands attention, prioritizing yourself without needing applause is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. In 2025, the path to real growth lies in stepping away from the obsession with external validation and turning toward personal alignment. This isn't about arrogance or selfishness. It's about understanding that your life is too important to be dictated by the approval of others. You cannot build something lasting if you're constantly changing course based on what others think, feel, or expect from you. True strength is knowing who you are, what you want, and staying grounded in that regardless of outside noise. When you stop seeking validation, everything begins to shift. You start showing up differently. You're no longer driven by whether people clap for you, compliment you, or even notice your progress. You're driven by something deeper: integrity, clarity, and personal accountability. This inner compass becomes more reliable than any applause from the crowd. You stop chasing impressions and start committing to your purpose. This mindset change is quiet but powerful. You don't need to post every win, explain every move, or respond to every doubt. You simply keep moving forward. Letting go of external validation also frees you from unnecessary pressure. You're no longer stuck in a cycle of comparison, measuring your progress against someone else's timeline. Instead, you build a deeper relationship with your own growth. You begin to respect your journey in a way that doesn't require anyone else's understanding. Every small step, every quiet improvement, every difficult choice you make becomes meaningful because you know why you're doing it. And that's more fulfilling than any temporary praise. This kind of focus builds emotional resilience. You're no longer swayed by opinions because your self-worth isn't rooted in approval, it's rooted in action. You can face criticism without crumbling, and you can walk away from praise without becoming dependent on it. You create a mental space that is calm, focused, and secure. That emotional independence becomes a foundation for success. It keeps you steady when others try to shake your confidence. It keeps you grounded when the world tries to distract you. In 2025, this is the mindset that wins. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the one who is the most centered. The one who is clear about their values, disciplined in their actions, and focused on their personal growth. When you stop trying to prove something to others, you start becoming someone for yourself. You stop performing and start transforming, and that transformation happens quietly, consistently, and authentically. This year, let go of the need to be seen, understood, or validated. Pour that energy into becoming someone you're proud of when no one is watching. Let your peace be louder than any praise. Let your growth be louder than any gossip. And let your life speak for you without ever needing to explain yourself. In a time where attention is constantly pulled in every direction, learning to protect your energy becomes essential, not optional. It's one of the most underrated forms of self-discipline, yet one of the most powerful. Every time you allow unnecessary noise, toxic people, or meaningless distractions into your life, you dilute your focus and weaken your momentum. The truth is, not everything deserves your response, and not everyone should have access to you. Energy is not unlimited. What you give your time, mind, and emotions to shapes the quality of your life more than anything else. When you begin to see your energy as currency, you become more intentional about where it goes. You stop spending it on arguments that lead nowhere, on people who drain more than they give, and on situations that don't align with your purpose. You start making decisions that support your growth, not your ego. You begin to say no without guilt. You stop over-explaining yourself just to make others comfortable. You understand that not every explanation is needed, not every connection is meant to last, and not every opportunity is meant for you. Protecting your energy means choosing your peace over temporary validation or superficial interaction. This kind of clarity creates freedom. You no longer feel obligated to show up for everything or be available to everyone. You detach from the need to prove anything and instead choose what genuinely nurtures your well-being. You become less reactive and more reflective. You notice how certain environments affect your mood, how certain people leave you feeling drained, and how certain habits quietly sabotage your potential. With that awareness, you create boundaries. not to push people away, but to keep your mind and emotions guarded from what doesn't serve your vision. When you protect your energy, your productivity increases. You think more clearly, make better decisions, and stay committed longer. You're no longer running on empty, constantly trying to balance chaos and peace. Instead, you're living from a place of balance and clarity. You're no longer emotionally exhausted from being too available or mentally scattered from trying to please everyone. You protect your space so that you can build something solid in it, whether that's peace, a vision, or the life you've always wanted. The people who protect their energy are the ones who last. They don't burn out because they know how to step back, reset, and recharge. They stay focused because they remove distractions before they become detours. They grow because they create the emotional and mental environment needed for real transformation. That's what 2025 demands, not more hustle, but smarter energy, not louder efforts, but sharper boundaries. Choose your peace, guard your focus, let go of anything that doesn't align with the person you're becoming. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's strategic, and it's one of the greatest forms of self-respect you can show yourself this year. Letting your actions speak louder than words is one of the most powerful ways to create real impact. In a time when so many people are busy talking about their goals, their dreams, and what they're going to do, the ones who actually get things done are usually the quietest. That's because they understand that real progress doesn't require an audience. Growth doesn't need a spotlight, and success doesn't happen by making noise. It happens by making moves. Words are cheap, but effort is undeniable. No one can deny the results that come from consistent action, and those results will always speak louder than any post, caption, or announcement. When you choose to focus on execution rather than explanation, you shift your mindset from needing attention to owning accountability. You stop wasting time trying to convince people of your worth or your plan, and you just work, you train, you learn, you show up again and again, even when nobody is clapping. That kind of discipline is rare, and it's what separates those who talk about it from those who are actually about it. You stop trying to impress others because you realize the real satisfaction comes from becoming the version of yourself you promised you would be. Letting your actions speak also teaches patience because growth takes time. Mastery takes time. Real change doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't need to be broadcast every step of the way. The more you work behind the scenes, the more powerful your presence becomes when the results are finally visible. People may not see your early mornings, your sacrifices, your moments of doubt, but they will see the outcome, and when they ask how you did it, the answer will be simple: you stopped talking and started doing. This mindset also builds integrity. You don't have to make big promises to hold yourself accountable. You know what needs to be done, and you do it whether or not anyone is watching. That kind of quiet consistency becomes your superpower. You're not distracted by needing attention or chasing applause. You're too focused on the mission, and that focus builds momentum that cannot be stopped by opinions or doubt. Over time, people notice. Not because you shouted your plans, but because your work is undeniable. Success is the most powerful form of expression. It proves what words never could. When you let your results speak for themselves, you gain a level of respect that no amount of self-promotion could ever earn. You become known for reliability, strength, and follow-through, not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. This year is about silent progress and loud results. Let others talk, let others seek validation. Your job is to build, evolve, and transform, quietly, consistently, and with purpose. In the end, people will see the difference not because you told them, but because your actions left no room for doubt. The core message of this speech is simple yet deeply powerful. In 2025, your greatest strength will come from your ability to focus inward, protect your energy, and move in silence. You don't need noise to grow, validation to be valuable, or applause to prove your worth. You need discipline, clarity, and self-respect. This year is not about being seen, it's about becoming. not about talking, it's about transforming. Every quiet step you take, every boundary you set, every goal you chase without announcing it builds something real. By focusing on yourself and letting your actions speak louder than your words, you create a life that commands respect, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Let the world wonder what you're building. You owe no explanations, only results.